Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Yahoos! Today we're looking at Ridley Walker, Expanded Edition. It was written by Russell Hoban and first published in 1980, and the version I have was written in 1998, and it has an afterword, notes, and glossary. I do recommend that you get the Expanded Edition and read those 3 sections first before you read the actual story, because they provide some helpful context. The genre is post-apocalyptic science fiction written in a unique style, and before I do the synopsis of what the book was all about, we should talk about the style, because the style of this book, I think, actually takes precedence over the actual story. First of all, it's intentionally written in broken English with a heavy British accent, so it's full of misspelled words, colloquialisms, slang, run-on sentences, and invented terms. And then, in addition to that, the story is primarily told through metaphors and symbolism. So there's multiple metaphors and symbols on every single page. Some of the metaphors and symbols used include, but are not limited to, stone, wood, that's W-O-O-D, the concept of wood, that's W-O-U-L-D, a Littl Shinyn Man, the legend of St. Eustace, a scientist named Yusa, puppets and puppet shows, owls that devour sound, toothed vaginas, red-hot iron penises, dogs howling, the eyes of a wild dog, humming power in a giant ring buried in the earth, radioactive shadows, children's rhymes, burial masks stuffed with leaves, mutants, gunpowder, atomic weapons, and super colliders. So that's a lot of metaphors and symbols. So reading this book is not like reading a book. It's as if you and a buddy went to Stonehenge, and Stonehenge was inside a gigantic bombed out old factory in England, and your buddy decides to light up and smoke some hash, and you listen to your buddy prattle on, and at first it sounds like they're just talking nonsense, and maybe they are. Some of it is. But then you start to realize that what your buddy is saying is this profound and beautiful oration of ultimate truths. That's what it's like reading Ridley Walker. So here's an example of what I mean. The main character, Ridley Walker, asks his mutant traveling companion what it means to be computer literate and what computers are. And the mutant answers, and during the answer he has an epileptic seizure. "What ben the pewter leet anyhow?" He said, "What good Parley calls use's head, which had been a girt box of knowing, and you hook up people to it, that's what a pewter ben. We ben the pewter leet, we had the whole world in our mind, and we had worlds beyond this in our mind. We program it past the Savering galaxies. We program it the girt dance of the everything. We run the blue, the red, the yellow, we run the red, the black, we run the seed of the red and seed of the black. We run the many cools of atom and the party cools of stone. Heart of the wood and stomp your foot, 1 and 2, and shake of the horns, and 1 and 2, and split of the shining." So, that's the style. What's the story? Basically, England has been decimated by the detonation of superweapons a few thousand years ago, and now the countryside has these packs of sentient dogs that run loose, and to stay safe from the dogs, everybody has to live in these fenced-in primitive communities. So they're basically back to the Stone Age. In Ridley's town, they're excavating ancient machines to try to bring back this ancient technology, and a machine falls on his dad, killing him. And as a result of that and some other events, Ridley decides to leave his home village, and because of some powers he doesn't understand, the wild dogs don't instantly kill him the minute he leaves the village. Actually, they help him. He becomes part of their pack, and together he and these wild dogs wander around inland. So he meets all kinds of different characters. He meets mutants, finds ancient runes, encounters government agents, and a whole lot more. And some of these characters want to bring back the ancient technology, and others don't want to do that. And the main way that Ridley works out whether or not he wants to bring back the ancient technology or not is through puppet shows. So the government sponsors puppet shows that go from village to village, and they tell the story of USA, the scientist that developed all these super weapons thousands of years ago, as like a cautionary tale. And so Riddley finds a puppet buried in some muck, and then he gets a fresh one from a friend, and he uses this new puppet, which is the one on the cover, to kind of help process what happened, and maybe that the answers that are being provided aren't so simple. So basically, the story is about him struggling with his relationship to a destructive but technologically advanced past, a debased and primitive present that at least doesn't have super weapons in it anymore, and thinking about what the future holds. So that's the book in a nutshell. In terms of what I liked about the book, I liked how unique it was. This wasn't like anything else I've ever read before. The broken English really gives it a sense that this is a society that's been decimated, and the wealth of metaphors and symbols give it a surreal and beautiful quality. It's an adventure story, yes, but it also reads like a sacred manuscript, which I thought was really cool. The adventures were really well done too. I enjoyed him meeting all of the bizarre characters, each with their own perspectives, goals, and they each had a story to tell. What I didn't like about the book was also what I liked about it. After a while, the broken English got kind of tiring to read, and I was just looking forward to reading something that was just in straightforward English. And sometimes all of the symbolism and mystic visions kind of got old and a bit repetitive and slowed down the story. I was just waiting for people to, stop having the 10th mystic vision out in the forest so, we could get the plot rolling here. My other beef is with the cover. The puppets are a big part of the story, and so I understand that's why it's on the front. But I'm not going to lie. For me, my book covers have got to have buff dudes, scantily clad babes, monsters, space lasers, mutants, spaceships. My covers for science fiction and fantasy have got to be heavy metal. And to help this book out, I actually made my own cover. So Russell Hoban passed away in 2011, but if any of the folks that manage his estate and his works would like to use this cover for a re-released edition, you may do that free of charge. So Riddley Walker doesn't quite make it into my God tier of books, but it's definitely a 5-star book for me, and I recommend it. Check it out. It was pretty unique and interesting. I liked it a lot. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for watching.